bridge march with lateral resistance is going to be anterior oblique sling focused exercise. So it's going to be focusing on the adductor to the opposite oblique to help strengthen the stability across the pubic symphysis joint. With the bridge march and lateral resistance, we want to attach a band probably around knee level to either your power rack, your squat rack, or to your door frame. If you're using your door frame, it's going to be below the doorknob, but not quite at the bottom of the door. So with the movement, I'm going to come out until I feel resistance in the band, and I should feel like I'm being pulled towards my point of attachment. So I don't want to be so close that it's super relaxed, but I don't want to be so far that I'm being pulled over. So I'll come onto my back, and I want the band to be generally aligned to the point of attachment, so I don't want to be way up here and way down there. With the bridge march with lateral resistance, we have different variations and progressions that we can take. The first one is going to be the supine Pallof press. So hips are going to stay down on the ground. I'm going to bring the band into the center of my chest, and I should be resisting a pull towards that point of attachment. And then I'm going to exhale to push the band straight up so it maintains midline, and then inhale back down. So this will be the easiest variation that we can do. The next variation is to maintain this position so the arms are extended, which is going to increase the length of the lever and make it more challenging to resist the rotation. And then I'm just going to lift the hips up and down. So we're going to do a glute bridge with lateral resistance. So both feet are going to be on the floor. I'm going to lift the hips and then lower them down. Another variation that we can do that sticks with that glute bridge is the inside foot can come into a staggered position. So now this outside leg is my work leg. I'm going to exhale to extend in the hip and then inhale to lower down, and the whole time maintaining the straight arm position. If I want to advance this even more, I can come into a single leg position, exhale to push up, inhale to come back down, and I could also just keep this inside hand on the band as I exhale to press into a single knee press. So the variations for the glute bridge is to keep both feet down, lift the hips up, lower down, stagger. Inside foot will come into that staggered stance, so coming onto that heel. I can do my single leg, and then I can do a single leg knee press. If I wanted to go into the bridge march variations, I could come into this position here. I'm going to elevate the hips, and then putting weight into one leg, I'm going to lift one knee, lower it down, put weight into the other leg, lift the other knee, and then lower it down. So I'm going to find that being able to stabilize in each leg is going to be a little bit different depending on the demand. You may find that the outside leg is a little bit harder than the inside leg just based on the direction of pull. As I do my bridge marches, I don't want the hips to drop as I lift each foot. So I want to maintain this hip position as I lift the feet up, and then also maintain my torso position without being pulled towards that point of attachment. Ways that we can advance the bridge march is to take the band and put it around the feet. And so when I'm in this position, I have a little bit more resistance as I lift the legs up. So still maintaining that hip position, I would still have the band here to keep myself from being pulled towards that point of attachment, and I would just lift each foot at a time. Another way to change it up if you don't want to use a resistance band is we can just use one weight. So I'm just going to hold a weight in an extended position, so it's loading the single side of my body, lift my hips, and then I'm going to lift each foot at a time. And now I can keep this elbow down to stabilize, or I can lift both arms. And so I have a little bit of that anti-rotation, but it's not quite the same as a resistance band, but it's pretty similar. So if you don't want to attach a band, you can also do this single arm dumbbell extension as you move the legs around. So I can do my bridge marches here where I'm lifting in this foot. So it's always going to be opposite of the work leg. I can do my single leg here. I can have both feet down. And so there's different variations of the lateral movement that we can do with the dumbbell instead. So with the bridge march with lateral resistance, we would choose the variation that fits best for us. So we can either do the supine Pallof press if driving into the feet is uncomfortable or painful. We can progress towards doing a glute bridge with lateral resistance where we keep the arms straight as we lift and lower the hips. You can progress that towards a staggered stance or a single leg. You could add a knee press with the glute bridge, and then we can also do a bridge march where we're lift alternating between each foot, either adding a resistance band around the feet. And then if you didn't want to use a resistance band, you can also just use a dumbbell, holding it only on one side, but still have a little bit of that anti